fight, actually. How do you see it going? Because everyone I've spoken to, I think everyone I've spoken to, fancies Fabio Wardley to win. Do you see it as comfortable as that or not?
I mean, Wardley should win because Dubois is not selling the fight at all, is he? I didn't even know they were fighting until about an hour ago till the money it was.
What do you mean he's not selling it? What do you mean by that?
Look, you can't fake it. If you're not that guy to sell a fight like some people do, I'm good at...
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm ready to fight.
Yeah, you love it. You love the destruction, the power, the blood.
Yeah.
It makes you smile.
Yeah. Well, it's what my job is, so that's what I do.
What's your favourite thing about boxing?
Winning, overcoming your obstacles, everything about it.
Yeah. And what's your least favourite thing?
I can't say. Is this do I need to do this interview? What's going on? Yeah, let's cancel it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. What's the next one? Yeah. Do I need this thing?
I'm not.
You're taking a fucking...
Why?
I want to see a little bit more, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to say.
Interesting. Most people, as Andy just said, Darren, kind of lots of people are fancying Fabio Wardley. If Dubois is going to persevere, so what's his tactic? How do you think he sees the fight in order for him to come out on top?
I think Wardley's obviously the faster guy and stuff like that. Obviously, Dubois, he does it really hard. So I think maybe in the later rounds, for me, if Dubois is conditioned enough, I think if I'm going to see a victory from Dubois, I think he can take him out in the later rounds. But if I had to put my money, I'd say a points decision for Wardley, mate. That's how I see it.
I guess it will a bit to me, but more so to everyone else. I think that's where the question mark is. Other people like to use that term, paper champion or whatever else, and okay, fine, no worries. I've got no issues with it because I'm going to prove my worth on Saturday night anyway, so it'll all come back around, and by Sunday morning there'll be nothing left to say.
Darren Till did not hold back here, questioning whether Daniel Dubois simply lacks the personality needed to sell a huge fight like this. With the spotlight getting bigger ahead of Fabio Wardley, many fans are starting to wonder if Dubois is letting the pressure and media attention become part of the problem.
To sell a fight like some people do, I'm good at stuff like that and that,
Yeah.
but I mean, even just in interviews, I don't know him as a person, so I don't want to like discredit his person, whatever, but he can't even answer a simple question. It's quite annoying, to be honest. It must be frustrating for interviewers and the promoters, like, you know, at least give the fight a little oomph. It's a great domestic fight between him and Wardley, two great fighters. He's a great fighter himself too, but it frustrates me a little bit when I'm watching on interviews and he's making it awkward and that, and maybe that's him as a guy, so I don't want to slander him in that way, but you're a fighter, you've been around the game, surely you know to answer a few.
Darren Till explained that after spending years around top-level combat sports, he still believes boxing is the most dangerous game there is. Till then pointed at Daniel Dubois versus Fabio Wardley, warning that this is the type of heavyweight fight where one brutal night can completely change a fighter mentally and physically.
I fought in the US. I fought the highest level of MMA you can fight at.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever tell me that boxing's not the most dangerous fight. I don't like to call it a sport because it's definitely not sport, but let's just to say combat, because from my 20 years in the game, I've been around all the top pro boxers and MMA fighters. That constant 12, like let's just put for example Wardley and Dubois tomorrow night. I've heard Dubois hits like a train. That can't be good for your brain after 12 rounds, 10 rounds, and I'd still campaign and say boxing's the most brutal out of the lot.
It is bizarre.
Fabio Wardley took direct aim at Daniel Dubois here and questioned whether doubts from previous fights still follow him into big moments. Wardley believes once fighters show vulnerability, opponents never forget it. Daniel Dubois stayed quiet though and looked completely locked and ahead of this massive showdown.
It's 5 2-minute rounds, so obviously it's less than the boxing, so I'd say it's less hardware in camp on your body because you got less rounds and minutes to train for. So I wouldn't say this camp's been easy. I'm in phenomenal shape. I've left no stone unturned, which I never do. But yeah, I myself think it's brutal. I think I'm a bit of a maniac for getting into it, you know. But it's an art in itself. I know it's brutal, and I'm excited to see how it's going to be. I think you can't spar it. No. You've just got to work around it. From the guys I've had in the gym who are all veterans in bare knuckle, you've got to just do your mitts on the bag, a little bit of fists and stuff like that. You're still sparring the 16 ounces, but yeah, I think it's one of them. You get in there with your fists and you're gonna feel how it goes, aren't you? There's no real way to train for bare knuckle, is there really?
Tony Bellew believes Fabio Wardley enters this fight with more options and more composure under pressure, but he also admitted Daniel Dubois remains extremely dangerous early. Bellew suggested the key issue with Dubois is confidence, claiming that once momentum swings against him, doubts can quickly appear. That is exactly why so many people are questioning whether Daniel Dubois truly has the mentality to handle another massive domestic heavyweight war.
I'm not going to lie, guys, you can take that confidence away from him within the first 3 minutes of the fight. And if you come out, start strong, put him a strong jab on him, you can get a reaction out of him, and you can diminish his hopes really quick.
Fabio Wardley appeared relaxed here and almost surprised by how calm things have stayed between himself and Daniel Dubois so far. But underneath that calmness, there still feels like real tension building before fight night. Wardley hinted that Daniel Dubois and his team could still have something planned, especially with criticism continuing around Dubois struggling to sell the fight through personality and media appearances.
Especially from you and Daniel, it was pretty relaxed, so you just never know, do you?
Yeah, look, you don't know. Don't get me wrong, I'm not planning any crazy theatrics or anything like that, so maybe him and his team got something they want to pull out of the bag, so we'll see.
Ade Oladipo gave Daniel Dubois credit for taking a dangerous fight immediately after defeat instead of rebuilding quietly against weaker opposition. He admitted many fans still question Dubois mentally, but respected the fact he jumped straight back into another huge heavyweight clash. At the same time, Oladipo also praised Fabio Wardley's toughness, making it clear this fight is dangerous for both men and could completely reshape the heavyweight picture in Britain.
It's a great matchup. It's a great matchup. Both have power. Fabio has this resilience. I think Dubois has a bit more resilience than people are giving him credit for. I saw that against Jarrell Miller. I saw it in spots against Hrgovic. Both are confident. The issue, I guess, for Dubois is that he is coming off a loss. I think we sometimes forget that. But I like the fact he said, you know what, fuck it, let's jump straight in with a big one. There is no, okay, you know what, let's have a 10-round warm-up fight against someone ranked number 30 to get my confidence back. No. Let's go straight in there. Who's got a belt? Who can I fight? And I love that attitude.
Dave Coldwell focused heavily on Daniel Dubois' mentality and suggested that once pressure starts building during fights, Dubois can mentally drift out of contests. Coldwell also warned that Fabio Wardley punches far harder than some opponents Daniel Dubois has already struggled against before. That is why so many experts believe the opening rounds are absolutely crucial, because if Wardley starts fast, the pressure on Dubois could become overwhelming very quickly.
I just feel Dubois has gone over against lesser punchers than what Wardley is. And it's more of a mental, once it starts going, I feel as though he feels it and then he falls apart and he gets caught with a shot and he just switches off mentally. I don't know what it is. And I think if Wardley gets off to a good start, then this fight could end up pretty much early.
George Groves made it clear he slightly leans towards Fabio Wardley because of momentum and timing heading into this fight. Groves believes Daniel Dubois reached the highest point of his career after beating Anthony Joshua, but the defeat against Alexander Usyk may have completely changed his confidence again. That is now the biggest talking point around Daniel Dubois. Fans know the power is real and the ability is there, but mentally people still wonder how much the Usyk loss damaged him going into another dangerous heavyweight battle.
I think Fabio Wardley, I think I'll make him the favourite. Like, if that's as close as I can go to picking a winner, I'm going to make him the favourite.
Yeah.
Just because of momentum right now. Dubois, he climbed his mountain against Joshua. He then fell off the mountain against Usyk.
Yeah.
Let's see if he survives.
Dominic Ingle actually gave Daniel Dubois a lot more respect than some of the other experts have so far. Ingle believes Dubois can still surprise people when expectations are low, and even claimed he may be the technically better boxer in this matchup. But he also warned that Fabio Wardley brings chaos, pressure, and pure aggression that can drag opponents into uncomfortable situations. That comparison to guerrilla warfare perfectly explains why many people believe Fabio Wardley's intensity and determination could become a serious problem for Daniel Dubois once the fight turns physical.
You know, Dubois kind of sometimes pulls it out when he's least expected, and I do feel he is a better boxer. He's a very hard puncher, and you know, Fabio's got to get hold of him early and kind of really take him out of his comfort zone early on. But he wasn't intimidated by Anthony Joshua, Dubois. You know, he's a strange one, Fabio, isn't he? Because he's kind of, it's like guerrilla warfare when you watch him box. It's not You know, sometimes it's not pleasant to watch in the sense of boxing, but as a fight and a brawl or whatever, and pure determination and being an animal.
Paul Smith tried to be careful with his words, but the concern around Daniel Dubois was still obvious. Smith made it clear he does not believe Dubois is a quitter, yet he admitted there have been moments in tough fights where Dubois seemed mentally affected once adversity kicked in. Those moments continue to follow Daniel Dubois everywhere, and opponents clearly notice them too. Against someone as relentless and physically aggressive as Fabio Wardley, every small sign of doubt or hesitation could instantly become dangerous inside the ring.
But that as a result might alter the way he thinks as well. When things get you know what, I'm not saying he's a quitter. It's never been that. It's just what I've seen in fights when it gets really hard and he's got up and walk back to his corner when he probably could have got up on that 8 and go again. But listen, he is what he...
Johnny Fisher did not sugarcoat anything and delivered one of the harshest takes yet on Daniel Dubois ahead of this fight. Fisher questioned Dubois technically and even cast doubt over his durability under pressure. Comments like these only add more pressure onto Daniel Dubois before such a massive domestic showdown. At the same time though, criticism has followed Dubois for years, and he has still managed to shock people before. That is why this fight feels so important, because another big performance could completely silence doubters once again.
You know, Daniel Dubois, he just can't really get right. You know, he has no real skill. Pretty durable chin. Heart is kind of questionable. But
Fraser Clark admitted Fabio Wardley still has defensive flaws, but he also believes Wardley is improving rapidly with every major fight. Clark especially praised the development in Wardley's boxing ability after recent performances, suggesting he is becoming far more complete as a heavyweight. When speaking about Daniel Dubois though, Clark once again brought the conversation back to emotions and pressure. That mental side continues to dominate discussion around Dubois because many believe his biggest battle on fight night may not just be Fabio Wardley, but also the pressure surrounding him.
I think Fabio will know himself. He only has to look at his face after most of the fights. You know, he's marked up a lot. I think his defence has had to get better or needed to get better. But I do think off the Hooney fight and the Parker fight, I'm seeing the development of Fabio Wardley as a boxer. I think he's improving in most departments, to be honest. So I think he has bridged that gap, whereas Daniel, I've always thought, has got very solid.
Fabio Wardley highlighted a major psychological contrast between himself and Daniel Dubois, suggesting opponents may find it nearly impossible to break his spirit in the ring. At the same time, he pointed towards past moments in Daniel Dubois' career where pressure situations appeared to affect his response in fights. Wardley believes that once a fighter shows any sign of hesitation, opponents can study and exploit it again under the right circumstances. This is exactly why this matchup is being viewed as more than just power versus power, but also a mental battle where confidence and composure could decide everything on fight night.
If you're an opponent lining up for Fabio Wardley, you look at him and go, to make him quit, one, I don't know if it's possible, and two, if it is, it's going to be one hell of a challenge. With Daniel, you'll go into a fight with Daniel thinking, if I do some things right here, I've seen it not once, not twice, but 3, maybe even 4 times of him kind of tap out of the situation. So if that's in there, that's in there. You can get it. You can pull it out with someone. You just need to go about the right things to get it. So you're already giving your opponent a psychological advantage going into the fight, because whether you say, oh, no, I'm over it now, or I'm past it, or I'm not going to do it, well, evidence suggests that actually the opposite. So, yeah, it could be problematic for him.
Fraser Clark admitted Fabio Wardley still has defensive flaws, but he also believes Wardley is improving rapidly with every major fight. Clark especially praised the development in Wardley's boxing ability after recent performances, suggesting he is becoming far more complete as a heavyweight. When speaking about Daniel Dubois though, Clark once again brought the conversation back to emotions and pressure. That mental side continues to dominate discussion around Dubois because many believe his biggest battle on fight night may not just be Fabio Wardley, but also the pressure surrounding him. He highlighted a major psychological contrast between himself and Daniel Dubois, suggesting opponents may find it nearly impossible to break his spirit in the ring. At the same time, he pointed towards past moments in Daniel Dubois' career where pressure situations appeared to affect his response in fights. Wardley believes that once a fighter shows any sign of hesitation, opponents can study and exploit it again under the right circumstances. This is exactly why this matchup is being viewed as more than just power versus power, but but also a mental battle where confidence and composure could decide everything on fight night.
And as you know, in heavyweight boxing, unlike any other weight division, you're one punch from victory, one punch from disaster. So it's not a question of the first one to land, because Dubois, there isn't enough lateral movement. You can only teach him so much. Dubois he's been to the top of that tree. He's tasted world title success. He knows what it is to be a world champion. You can't really improve when you've been a world champion. I mean, you never stop learning, but it's whether you can actually take that and put it into action. For me, there's not enough movement from Daniel Dubois. And once those bullets start getting fired, then mate, once those shots start coming in, boy, someone's getting knocked out. It's gonna be, you know what, their styles are gonna blend so well. Because like I say, they're both punchers, they both box reasonably well, they both got reasonably good stamina, and as soon as that bell goes, mate, don't blink, it's gonna be, boy, you know what, like I say, I'm quite excited about that one.
Frazer Clarke admitted Fabio Wardley still has defensive flaws, but he also believes Wardley is improving rapidly with every major fight. Clarke especially praised the development in Wardley's boxing ability after recent performances, suggesting he is becoming far more complete as a heavyweight. When speaking about Daniel Dubois though, Clarke once again brought the conversation back to emotions and pressure. That mental side continues to dominate discussion around Dubois because many believe his biggest battle on fight night may not just be Fabio Wardley, but also the pressure surrounding him.
Privately, Daniel's father in particular, he recognized what I've done for Daniel and the father. And I too recognize what they done for me as a coach. So it's a mutual thing. Like I said, it was a sudden ending, and that doesn't sit well with me in the way that it ended. I haven't got this entitlement that I must be Daniel Dubois' coach.
No, fair enough.
But the timing of it, when 48 hours prior to me being sacked, the conversations I was having with Daniel's father didn't suggest, no, that's the only thing that doesn't sit well with me. But like I said, I've digested it, I've acknowledged it, accepted it, processed it, and I've accepted it, and life moves on.
Fabio Wardley highlighted a major psychological contrast between himself and Daniel Dubois, suggesting opponents may find it nearly impossible to break his spirit in the ring. At the same time, he pointed towards past moments in Daniel Dubois' career where pressure situations appeared to affect his response in fights. Wardley believes that once a fighter shows any sign of hesitation, opponents can study and exploit it again under the right circumstances. This is exactly why this matchup is being viewed as more than just power versus power, but also a mental battle where confidence and composure could decide everything on fight night.